Welcome to your daily stock market summary from MarketSnap. Hey everyone, it's time to dive into the latest action on Wall Street for December 1st, 2025. We've got a packed day with some intriguing moves in the markets, a few surprises, and plenty to talk about for us long-term investors. So grab a coffee and let's break down what's driving the financial world today. First up, let's check the pulse of the major indexes. It's a bit of a rough start to December as U.S. stocks traded lower today. The Dow Jones took a noticeable hit, dropping nearly 1%, while the S&P 500 and NASDAQ weren't far behind, slipping around 0.5% each. The Russell 2000, representing small caps, saw the steepest decline at over 1%. This risk-off sentiment seems tied to broader concerns in tech and crypto, alongside anticipation for the Federal Reserve's next moves. For us long-term players, this dip might signal a chance to scout for value, but it's a reminder to stay cautious in the short term as volatility picks up. Now let's spotlight some of the big movers today among large-cap stocks. On the winning side, we've got some standout performers. Alibaba and NetEase both surged around 5%, showing strength in the Chinese tech space, which could hint at renewed investor confidence in that market. AppLovin and DoorDash also caught attention with solid gains over 3%, reflecting ongoing interest in growth-oriented tech and consumer services. And check out Synopsys, jumping nearly 5% after news of a $2 billion investment from NVIDIA. More on that in a bit. These gains are a bright spot for us long-term investors looking at sectors with strong growth potential, even if short-term fluctuations remain. Flipping to the other side, some heavyweights took a beating today. Shopify dropped almost 6%, partly due to a reported outage on Cyber Monday, which isn't great timing for a platform so tied to e-commerce. Broadcom also slid over 4%, reflecting broader tech sector pressure. Defense stocks like Lockheed Martin and Northrop Grumman weren't spared either, each down around 4%, possibly tied to broader market risk aversion. For long-term folks like us, these pullbacks could be opportunities to buy into solid names at a discount, but it's worth watching if these short-term declines signal deeper issues. Diving into the market movers, NVIDIA continues to dominate as one of the most active stocks, nudging up over 1.5% today despite broader tech weakness. Apple also saw decent volume with a similar gain, showing resilience. However, Tesla barely budged, hovering near flat, which might reflect mixed sentiment after recent volatility. Intel, on the other hand, dipped over 1%, even after a strong weekly performance. These names are core to many long-term portfolios, and their activity today reminds us to balance short-term noise with the bigger picture of innovation and market leadership. Speaking of activity, let's glance at the most traded stocks by volume. NVIDIA again leads the pack, no surprise there, as investors remain fixated on AI and chip demand. Intel also saw heavy trading, though with a slight loss, possibly due to profit-taking after recent gains. Smaller names like American Airlines and Open Door Technologies popped up too, with notable volume but mixed results. High volume often signals short-term speculation, but for us long-term investors, it's a cue to dig deeper into whether these moves align with fundamental strength. Zooming out to the past week, some large-cap stocks have posted impressive gains. Intel led with a massive 21% jump, likely fueled by renewed optimism in semiconductors. Robinhood also soared over 19%, riding the wave of retail trading interest. AppLovin and Broadcom both gained around 16 to 17%, showing tech's strength over the week despite today's pullback. For us focused on the long haul, these weekly movers highlight sectors like tech and fintech that could offer sustained growth if fundamentals hold. On the flip side, weekly losers include some notable names. SuperXAI Technology dropped a steep 22%, reflecting volatility in niche tech plays. Arcelix and PagerDuty also fell hard, down around 18–19%, possibly due to sector-specific concerns. Nutanix took a similar hit, shedding over 18%, which might signal short-term overvaluation worries. As long-term investors, these drops remind us to assess whether they're temporary hiccups or signs of deeper challenges. Turning to earnings, this week brings some heavy hitters to the spotlight. We've got Best Buy reporting tomorrow, which could give us insight into consumer spending trends heading into the holidays. Dell Technologies and Workday are also on deck, offering a window into tech and enterprise software demand. Later in the week, keep an eye on Miniso Group for a read on global retail. While we won't dive into the nitty-gritty numbers, these reports could sway short-term sentiment, but for us long-term thinkers, they're pieces of a larger puzzle on sector health.
Get exclusive AI summaries of every earnings call. No more reading hours of transcripts. Access revenue segmentation, 5-year analyst estimates, SWOT analyses, and full financial statements. Plus track upcoming earnings, dividends, and market events with MarketSnap's calendar app. Create a free account at MarketSnap.com.
Let's touch on some key news driving specific stocks today. NVIDIA made waves with a $2 billion stake in Synopsys, boosting the latter's shares and signaling deeper ties in AI and computing power. Definitely a storyline to watch for long-term tech exposure. Shopify, on the other hand, stumbled with an outage on Cyber Monday, a critical day for e-commerce, which could dent short-term confidence but might not derail its broader growth trajectory. Moderna and other vaccine stocks like BioNTech slipped on news of tighter FDA guidelines, a reminder of regulatory risks in healthcare. These headlines underscore the mix of opportunity and caution we navigate as long-term investors. Wrapping up with a sector snapshot, basic materials led the pack over the past week with a solid 12% gain, likely tied to commodity price strength and global demand optimism. Energy and technology also performed well, up around 4% and 8% respectively, reflecting ongoing interest in oil dynamics and AI-driven growth. For us long-term folks, these sector trends can guide portfolio diversification, especially in materials and tech, as potential growth engines. On the weaker side, real estate barely budged with just a 0.07% gain weekly, possibly due to interest rate sensitivity and housing market concerns. Consumer cyclical and financial services also lagged with modest gains under 1%, hinting at cautious consumer and investor sentiment. While not alarming for long-term strategies, these underperformers suggest areas to monitor for potential value plays if conditions improve.
MarketSnap brings everything long-term investors use daily into one clean, fast platform. Explore stock financials, SWOT analysis, valuation ratios, 5-year analyst estimates, and our intrinsic value calculator, built with real fundamentals, not hype. All in a layout that's simple to read and ridiculously fast to navigate. And when you want to talk investing, join Nexus, our community where investors share valuations, posts, and stock discussions, all connected directly to the data. Use our stock's intrinsic value calculator to run and save real valuations with no spreadsheets. Share your analysis and valuations with others in the Nexus community. Get daily market summaries in video, audio, and article formats. Track the market with our earnings, dividend, and economics calendar. Our homepage gives you a real-time market overview with interactive heat maps, top market movers, and major index performance at a glance. Track daily performances, discover the most active stocks, and analyze performance across different timeframes, from weekly to yearly trends, and see which industries are leading or lagging. It's free to create an account, with optional access to premium forward-looking data. Try it now at MarketSnap.com and invest with clarity, not noise. That's a wrap for today's stock market summary from MarketSnap. Thanks for tuning in, and make sure to stick with us for daily updates and deep dive SWOT analyses to keep your investment strategy sharp. Whether you're navigating short-term turbulence or building wealth for the long haul, we've got the insights to help. See you tomorrow.